Welcome back to specifically NewDay. It's time for an interview now, and we're talking about disasters. Now, October the 13th, which is tomorrow, marks Disaster Reduction Day all over the world. And considering that we had our own disaster in our nation, marking of June 3rd, we have an obligation to have this discussion and hopefully prevent further disasters in the future. Now with me in the studio I have Mr. Bosman Owusu, who is the Communication Manager of the UNDP, and Mr. NewDay Mensah, who is the Director of Fires and Lighting at NADMO. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
How are you?
Yeah, fine.
Good. Thank you for joining us in the studio. Tell us about the theme of tomorrow's day.
Okay. We are celebrating life. We are looking at how to apply local knowledge, or if you like, traditional knowledge to manage disasters.
Right.
So the global theme is knowledge for life, but we are zooming in specifically on local or traditional knowledge.
Okay. All right. So what about local or traditional knowledge is so necessary that we have to actually put it out there for everybody to know?
It is important that we pay attention to local knowledge because that is knowledge that has been acquired over the years. And we have managed disasters and other risks based on this knowledge. It has worked in several other areas. For instance, when you go to some part of the Awen, Swaman, somewhere in the western region, they have applied local knowledge, namely that when they see millipedes or centipedes rising to high levels or high grounds, during rainy season, it is an indication that it's likely to flood.
Right.
Again, when you see black ants, and this you can find in some part of Keta, when you see black ants that are moving from highlands to lowlands along the stream, it tells you that rainfall is going to be less for that period. But when you see them doing the reverse, rising to highland, it tells you it's going to flood. So you see that we have a relationship with nature, and we have learned so many things from that relationship that helps us to manage the risk around us. And so we don't want the local knowledge to die down. We think that if we bring that to the fore and we look at the potential it has to complement with what we call modern science, especially information or reports we receive from the meteorological service, that can help people to reduce the risk they are exposed to and manage disasters better. And that's why globally we have dedicated IDDR, that is International Day for Disaster Reduction, to the use of local or indigenous knowledge.
Very, very, very good. Okay, I'm going to come to you, Mr. Mensah. Yes. Now, considering that we've got a fresh disaster in our minds, obviously June 3rd that just passed, how prepared are we as a people for an impending disaster? Because let's just be honest about it. I mean, it's only a matter of time before the next one happens.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that we've been doing, sensitizing the people, sensitizing the communities about the disaster that they are living with. First and foremost, to identify the disasters. Then sometimes we map them so that on the map you can just see where these disasters are located. Okay. So it's an ongoing sensitization that will be given to the people. Unfortunately, people don't heed to advice, and that has been the problem. You see, because people are now building in a very, very dangerous areas. We know what that is flood-prone areas. Yeah. And if you take some of the communities in even Accra, Sakamai, for instance, is a place that, if you go there and you urinate, it will flood the people. Wow. Because that place is a marshy area, right. And people have decided to build in the marshy area. Definitely, it will rain. You know, disasters have two types of disasters, the natural and then the man-made. Yes. The natural, whatever we do, it will come. The best thing that we have to do about the natural disasters is to reduce the impact as much as possible. Okay. Like what unfortunately happened at the June 3rd, the June 3rd circle. Yeah. Unfortunately, that one, it was the two combined, the natural and the man-made.
Okay, just following on the back of that then, because obviously we had rains just on Friday, which, places flooded again. Is it fair to say then, as we as a people ourselves, we're somewhat hypocritical? Because if we're saying that we want to prevent disasters, but we're not doing or taking the necessary steps.
That is it. We've just hit the nail on the head. Unfortunately, NADMO hasn't got that power to discipline people, especially if you build in a waterway, to come and break even if you have a wall, to break the wall so that the water can easily flow. We don't have that power. It is the assemblies that have that power. So all what we do at the moment is advocacy, to tell them what the problems are,
so
where the problems are located.
In facing these?
Yes, we are now. We had the old bill, that's the Act 517 of 1996, that established NADMO. That one, we are trying to repeal that one for another one that is coming. It is now, it's in a bill form. It is at the Parliament.
Okay.
It has gone through first and second reading. It's not the third reading when it comes. That one, NADMO is asking for empowerment. So so that if you go there and there is
as well.
Yes, sure.
Rather than
if there is a structure that will feel that it is detrimental to the people over there, because when disaster happen, it will augment it.
Right.
Then we can pull that structure down.
Okay.
Ourselves.
So, what can individuals do? What can the everyday person do to help in this huge fight that we have against disasters?
Yeah, that is what we have to do. What is right?
But when you say what is right, I mean,
yeah, that what is right is that we. That's why I'm saying that we sensitize them. We give them education about how they should. Disasters are bound to be with us.
Yeah.
You see, it's how we harmoniously live with them that counts. If you don't live harmoniously with your environment, definitely you are going to have problems.
All right.
Yes.
Mr. Bossman, what's your contribution to that? What can we do as individuals to help prevent disasters?
I want to believe, as global citizens, we need to be responsible citizens. We need to be aware that the various actions and activities we undertake, at the end of the day, impact on us negatively, one way or the other. For instance, in Accra here, we know of several cases where people actually dispose, waste anyhow. At the end of the day, the gutters get choked. We have issues with the storm drains, and it comes back to haunt us. Disaster strikes, and we see the effect. Yeah. So we encourage ourselves to be responsible global citizens. And in fact, that is why we set a day like the International Day for Disaster Reduction aside, just to remind ourselves of the responsibility we have as global citizens to contribute to reducing the risk around us. So we need to pay attention to that. And then we also need to pass on any such knowledge to the younger folks. Yeah. We know a lot. And we know that children, for instance, learn and they grow with the knowledge they acquire. Knowledge for life. Yeah. So we don't want that knowledge to be resident in us and die with that. We want to share. We want to pass that on. And then we also know that we cannot be everywhere at the same time. Maybe tomorrow you may be somewhere that is flood prone. If there is documentation of local knowledge, when you go to that side of town, I'm sure you may be prepared. Right. So knowledge is everything. Knowledge is power. So we should begin to be interested in such important knowledge that helps us to reduce the risk that we find ourselves, especially if we live in areas that are prone to flood, that are prone to fires. For instance, if you live in the forest areas, yeah, you can imagine that you may have to, at some point in time, fight fire. If you are living around the Bagre Dam area, where normally when there is a spillage, you get affected. Yeah. You need to arm yourself with some basic information, knowledge, that helps you to manage the disaster around. So it's important that we all express interest in this knowledge. Yeah. But more importantly, we act as responsible global citizens just to make sure that we reduce some of these triggers of disasters.
Okay. And how are you marking the day?
It is taking place in Anyamam, and that is very close to Sege.
Okay.
And we are having the acting director of NADMO coming tomorrow. We have the UN resident coordinator, Dr. Evans Clark, also coming. We are celebrating that with communities. We want communities to bring to the fore how they have applied local knowledge to fight disasters. So we have specifically chosen a place that is very close to the sea. And we would learn from the community how over the years they have lived side by side without, experiencing the wrath of the sea, if you like. So, and we're also going to interact with the Asafo groups, because they are normally the first point of call whenever disasters come, to fight disasters. So we also want to interact with them and learn how they, over the years, have managed to fight disasters and also reduce the risk of disasters. It's going to be an exciting event. I would encourage everyone, especially those on Twitter, to follow the activity. The hashtag for tomorrow's event is hashtag IDDR2015. Okay. Hashtag IDDR2015. You can follow the conversation and get some real-time tips as to how you can also be part of this global conversation.
Right. I want to thank you both for coming in this morning and having this discussion with us. And as you've gathered, it's not just NADMO and the UNDP's responsibility, it's all of our responsibility that a holistic change needs to take place in order for us to avoid disasters in the future.